Hi, Greg the Brickitect here. Today we're taking a look at the fifth build from the LEGO Build-A-Book More Amazing Vehicles. This is the wrecker, or the tow truck if you will. In terms of the stats from this, the complexity, they rate it as a 2 out of 3, functions 1 out of 3, and then pieces 3 out of 3. And I can vouch for that because I used probably 220 of the 270 pieces from the original set. In terms of the design notes, it says that it has a long wheelbase, high clearance, flat bed, wide rear axle, massive grille, and livery lines, whatever that may mean. And it's a really fun build. I was looking forward to making this one, and I'll take some time here to show it to you. I don't know if you'll agree with me or not, but to me this truck looks like a Dodge Ram. There's so much about it that's very Dodge-like. That front grille right here really looks like a Ram, and then the way the hood angles in here at the top, and then the headlights are down below that, it looks like a mid-2000s Dodge Ram. I like that front bumper. It's a nice wide bumper. This truck is a total of 8 wide, so it's a very big build, and the front of it, I think it looks great. There's nothing that I would change about this. I really think it looks good. Now onto the side profile of this truck. It has a really nice stance. I like how the truck seems to kind of slant up as you go from the front to the back. And there's a couple really nice elements on the side that I want to show you that I thought were really nice touches that they added here. The first thing I like are these side pillars. They did a really interesting feature here where they actually move like this. The way they have them clipped in there is really interesting, and I like the way they look when they're sitting like that, but what I really like about them are these side view mirrors that they added on. That hasn't been done yet in this build, and I think that looks really nice, have it matching the color of the paint. Even though there's no definite mirror on it from the front end, it looks really nice having that sticking out. Another thing about the side of this truck that you may not notice until you really zoom in are these mud flaps they added to the front. This wasn't even really noticeable. I just happened to be, once I finished building this, I looked at it and I was like, that is just a really cool idea to put those on there. And it looks really good. The only downside is the back doesn't have any. Now on to the most important part of any wrecker, and that's its towing capability. As you can see, this truck is a dually, and if you're not sure what that means, essentially you look at this back fender here and see how it extends out. What they're trying to show here is that there's 2 tires on each side on the back, which gives it a wider stance and also gives it more of an ability to tow. Unfortunately, this truck only has 4 tires total because that's all is included in the set, but with the way that fender comes out and they have the back tire a little bit spaced further apart, it really gives that appearance. And a little bit further up, here's how you would hook the vehicles. It has this arm right here with these hooks that come down. Although they're not actual hooks and you couldn't hook a car to it, it kind of gives that appearance. And this is where the functioning comes into play. It got a 1 out of 3 in functioning, and that's because this is really the only thing that moves on the entire vehicle, with the exception of the wheels, and that can come down pretty low, but it looks best, I think, sitting up just about that high, and it does stop right about there, so you can keep it somewhere in the middle. And they did a good job with building that. I'll kind of take you around. You can see it from all angles. Down below, it just kind of hooked in there, and there's not a whole lot going on in the bed. It's got some tail lights here on both sides and then a plain black bed with a black bumper. So that is the back end of the truck. The wrecker does have a weakness. It's its interior. Unfortunately, there's no door to get in the side, which is kind of a bummer. But then when you take the roof off to actually get inside, this is where things start to get kind of bad. There is a standard issue steering wheel and dashboard in the front, and then you have the glove box over here. This side looks okay because you have the light blue seat, which you find in all these models, but then when you get to the passenger seat, I'm not really sure what they were thinking here. You have the back, but then I guess they ran out of tiles, so there's just a half a seat there, and there's no finishing part over here, which is really bad, and it doesn't look good at all. I kind of went back to recheck that to see if that was correct, and that's the way it is. There is a back window, so you can kind of see through the entire truck, and then I like the front windshield. They use that same technique again on this one, where they just kind of clip the windshield down. Ordinarily, this would be a very flat windshield, but that's one technique to make it a lot taller. And then again, you can see the pillars here, which you can move around, and I like that. But the interior, not really sure what they were thinking there with the seats. I wish kind of it would have just been a bench seat and maybe use some of the other pieces. In fact, looking at the piece counts here, you could just kind of put that in there and that would have worked out really well, but they kind of dropped the ball on that one. So there you go, that's the wrecker, the 5th build from the LEGO Build-A-Book More Amazing Vehicles. We're halfway through this book and we've seen some really awesome builds. I think this one's really great, but it's not my favorite. It's probably right behind the Roadster in terms of my favorites. I was really looking forward to building this one and it was a lot of fun, but I'm really looking forward to the second half of this book because there's a lot of awesome builds coming up. So you'll have to come back in the future to see those. I thank you for watching this video and we'll see you next time.